In this video, I'm going to cover the 4 types of foods that you need to eat if you have H. pylori and a couple of warnings, so make sure you watch until the end. My name is Noor Zibde. I am a functional and integrative dietitian. I've been helping people overcome digestive disorders, including H. pylori, for 10 years, and these are the tips that I'm sharing with my clients. Before we get started, I want to share some information about H. pylori and how it relates to the conversation today. So H. pylori is a bacteria that infects the stomach. It can cause stomach pain, gas, bloating, acid reflux, heartburn, nausea and vomiting, constipation, and diarrhea. Some people actually have mental and cognitive issues as a result of H. pylori, such as anxiety, depression, brain fog, or others. The bacteria itself has a spiral shape, so it actually burrows through the lining of the stomach, and that can cause inflammation, ulcers, gastritis, and in some, but not always, cancers. In order for the bacteria to survive, it is going to reduce the amount of hydrochloric acid that is produced by the stomach cells. What that means is that the enzymes that start breaking down proteins are not going to get activated, so we're going to have a harder time digesting proteins. Also, gastric emptying is delayed, or in other words, food sits in your stomach longer, so you may feel like there's a rock right under your chest, and that could be related to indigestion. Because H. pylori affects hydrochloric acid, the message for the pancreas and the bile to release their digestive juices and their enzymes doesn't get delivered. So then we have a reduction in enzymes downstream. And it also affects the small intestine because enzymes that are supposed to be produced by intestinal cells don't get released. And finally, H. pylori can affect motility and slow down motility, so you may feel sluggish and you have constipation, or that things are not moving down properly. This means that H. pylori is going to affect every step of digestion, so we have to keep that in mind as we are choosing foods. Tip number 1, choose foods that are cooked, that are moist and soft. So this goes for proteins like chicken, red meat, and fish, as well as vegetables. You want to eat the proteins because they help in healing, so we have to make sure we're eating them in ways that support digestion. Try to incorporate them into soups, stews, simmering, boiling, steaming, and these are going to be better cooking methods than putting a piece of chicken or steak on the grill if it ends up being chewy and dry and stringy. Same thing, corn on the cob may be harder to digest. So we're going to choose foods that are soft and moist. So examples of this include a soup made of chicken shredded with some carrots and zucchini and cabbage and maybe like some potatoes. Or maybe you can have a piece of baked fish with some rice and steamed broccoli, and make sure you don't overcook the fish. You can have ground meats, they may be easier to tolerate than steak, and have some ground beef sauteed with some vegetables and have that on top of mashed sweet potatoes. Or you can cook chicken in a slow cooker or a pressure cooker and use the juices that come out of the chicken and drizzle them as you are eating. Tip number 2, eat more broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower. And if you can find broccoli sprouts or make them yourself, that would be much better. Now, these foods contain compounds that help naturally kill H. pylori, so we want to incorporate them as much as we can. Eat them cooked, for example, steamed or sauteed or even juiced, and avoid having them raw because that's going to make them harder to digest. If these foods cause bloating, maybe skip the cauliflower because it's the harder one to digest and causes the most gas, and stick with half a cup of broccoli, cabbage, or broccoli sprouts. Tip number 3, eat foods that are anti-inflammatory with lots of antioxidants. Chances are you can't eat big portions, so you want to make sure that every bite you eat counts. When it comes to H. pylori, the best foods in this category are blueberry, pomegranate, cranberry, red grapes, turmeric, and omega-3s. Try to incorporate these fruit, fresh or frozen, into your meals and snacks. If you're going to get juice, that's okay, but you just have to make sure you get juice that is 100% cranberry or pomegranate without added sugars, and these usually come in small glass jars, not the big plastic containers. Let me tell you something, some of the popular brands out there have sugar and artificial flavors, so these are not the ones you want to choose. For turmeric, you can add it to cow's milk if you tolerate it, or maybe a dairy-free alternative and make it into golden milk, or maybe add the turmeric root with the ginger root to boiled water and drink that in the evening. You may also add turmeric to your meals, but always make sure you add black pepper because it helps absorb the turmeric. The best sources of omega-3s include salmon, tuna, trout, anchovies, and sardines, and they also come in some plant foods like walnuts, chia, hemp, and flax seeds. Some of those come in supplement forms, just be careful when it comes to quality and inactive ingredients. And just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying this information, hit the like and subscribe button so this content can reach more people who need it. Tip number 4 is to eat foods that support and boost digestion. There are many vegetables that do that. These include ginger, arugula, radishes, turnips and turnip greens, beet and beet greens, kale, even lettuce, pretty much a lot of the leafy greens, in addition to more like parsley, cilantro, artichoke hearts, lemon, lime, orange peel. All of these foods are going to boost digestion, which is exactly what we need to do when we have H. pylori. Now, keep in mind, we want to eat those in foods. We're not trying to get them from supplements, and it is actually good if you cook them. Some of those are more effective if steamed, so don't feel like you have to eat them raw. If you have acid reflux or heartburn, skip the lemon, lime, and orange peel and stick with the other ones. They should be tolerated without an issue. Many of these plant foods come in supplements, and I want you to be careful with this because we have issues always with quality and other inactive ingredients, and many times more of these foods can backfire and create more problems if you have developed food sensitivities. So sometimes sticking with 1 or 2 at a time is going to be better. Now here comes warning number 1. It is not recommended to try raw apple cider vinegar or hydrochloric acid capsules or even digestive bitters in high forms or extracts as supplements. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but we actually don't want the stomach to produce more HCl or have more HCl from capsules while you have an active infection. That's because it can drive the bacteria to burrow deeper through the lining of the stomach, and that's going to make it harder to eradicate. So you first have to get rid of the bacteria, and then you may slowly start to introduce apple cider vinegar or high concentrated doses of digestive bitters or hydrochloric acid pills. And here comes warning number 2. All of those tips are going to help you feel better and are going to help your digestion, and so you can benefit from your food, but none of these tips are going to actually eradicate the bacteria. You have to be on a treatment plan, whether it is a prescription, antibiotics, or an herbal protocol that you take the right products in the right doses to make sure that the bacteria is gone. Make sure you watch my other video where I talk about H. pylori, testing, and treatment options. And I also have another video that talks about why some people keep getting the bacteria over and over again, even after they treat it. If you've tried a lot of things and you still have a lot of digestive discomforts, whether you have had H. pylori treatment or not, reach out. Some people develop food sensitivities, leaky gut, dysbiosis as a result of H. pylori, and some people have other infections at the same time, which make it difficult to eradicate the bacteria. And for some people, they actually get rid of the bacteria, but they still have symptoms, and these may be caused by other things. If you're still overwhelmed and you're confused and you're looking for a personalized help, check out the description for information on how to book an appointment. I hope this information was helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions.